What's up, Italian timers? Check your clocks. My clock says IT. That means Italian time.
Italian time!
You guys, there's something in Italian you have to know, and it's this thing called the impersonale, the impersonal. When you're describing something and there's no specific person you're referring to, you're just saying, in general, one does this, someone does this. This impersonale is super common in Italian. For example, how do you say in Italian? In English, do you notice that I'm saying how do you say? But I'm not specifically referring to you. I'm saying how does one say? How does a person say this? In Italian, I think it's better than English because we have to use the second person you, but in Italian, they have this convenient impersonale. So they use this magic word that's si, S-I, and then you simply use the third person singular. So to say, how do you say, it's come si dice. It's not come dici. Literally, it's come dici. But in Italian, they say come si dice. Dice is third person singular, and then you put the si before it. This literally means, how does one say? So this works with all verbs. For example, how do you do it? It's come si fa. How does one do it? Again, I'm not referring to you specifically. I'm saying in general, how does one do it? Come si fa. If I'm saying, how do you pronounce this? I'm not saying, how do you pronounce it? I'm saying, how does someone pronounce it? Come si pronuncia. In English, how does one pronounce? In English, yes, we say, how do you pronounce? In Italian, they say, how does one pronounce? Come si pronuncia. So that's when things are singular. Sometimes you could be describing more than one thing and it's a slight change. So for example, if I say, how do you pronounce this word? How does one pronounce this word? It's come si pronuncia questa parola. The word is singular, so it's just come si pronuncia. If I say, how do you pronounce these words? It's plural now. So of course it will be come si pronunciano. So it's weird, even though it's still how does one pronounce, the word pronounce goes to the third person plural, the loro. So it's si pronunciano because it's those words, not one word. So the sentence would be come si pronunciano quelle parole. How do you pronounce those words? How does one pronounce those words? Okay, let's talk about where to find a shoe or where to find two shoes. So if you want to say, where do you find the shoe, singular, where does one find the shoe? It's dove si trova la scarpa. The shoe is singular, and trovare, third person with the si before it. Dove si trova la scarpa. But usually when we talk about shoes, we're talking about two shoes. So let's make it plural as it normally would be. Where does one find the shoes? That would be dove si trovano le scarpe. So si trova becomes si trovano in the loro form when it's plural. Okay, so quiz time. How do you say, where do you pay? I'm not referring to you. Where does one pay? In this store, where does one pay? How do you say that? Where does one pay? Dove si paga. Dove si paga. Where does one pay? Where can I pay? Where do you pay? Where does one pay? Dove si paga. Last example. Where does one put the bananas? I have some bananas to put away, but where does one put the bananas? Plural, keep that in mind. So where does one put the bananas? In Italian, you would say, dove si mettono le banane. You cannot say dove si mette because that's singular. We have plural bananas. Dove si mettono le banane. Ma dove si mettono le banane? That's the true Italian way to say it. You guys, this impersonal is so important, and I know I say that often, but it's so common and so useful in Italian, and I wish we had it in English because it's better than saying you specifically, because I'm not saying you, I'm saying in general, where does one do this? So make sure you learn that, and if you need help learning it, we have a super good exercise to practice. Not only an exercise for this, but an exercise for every single video we make, and then some. We have so much helpful content on our Patreon page. Check it out if you're learning Italian. I know you'll like it. Let's stop here. Italian time is over. Now it says ET. I guess that's English time, so we'll take a break for now. I'll see you next time. Peace.